Hello and welcome to the Revolut Insider Podcast, where we explore Revolut's rocket ship from the inside out, one episode at a time. I'm your host, Alex Carril, and joining me today is Mark Swan, Retail Strategy and Operations Manager. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Alex. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for taking the time and being with us today.
No, it's great. It's my pleasure.
I realized that when I look back at our episodes, I haven't really talked about our accounts much. So we've talked about career, we've talked about culture, and I thought it'd be great to have you on the show to give us some insight into what it's like having a Revolut account, hear some features that may be helpful to new or existing customers, and also maybe answer the question, why Revolut?
Yeah, fantastic.
And when we talk about retail products and features, we're talking about personal accounts, right? As opposed to business accounts.
Yeah, it's the kind of Revolut that maybe you're more familiar with as a customer. So everyday experience with Revolut.
And can you tell me about what you do in the retail department for Revolut as a strategy and operations manager?
Yeah, so I think it starts by just understanding what our goal as a company is to do here at Revolut. And so our goal is to build the world's best banking experience for our customers. And so as a strategy and operations manager, my role is to try and build that goal into a reality for our 40 million customers worldwide.
Wow.
And so if you kind of split the strategy and operations side, strategy is more forward looking. What are we going to be doing in 3, 5, 10 years?
Okay.
And kind of what can we introduce to make a better experience for our customers? And then the operations side is the actual day-to-day execution. So how do we actually bring that into the market, into the hands of the customers, and as fast as possible?
And what is the overall strategy behind building the best features for customers?
Yeah, so at Revolut, we talk about being one app, all things money. And we believe that there's a host of benefits in having all of your accounts, where you get your salary, where you're spending, where you're saving, all in one place. And so I think our collective strategy is to make that process as easy as possible for customers so that they can use everything day to day, as well as investing for the future and saving for their future goals, all within one app. And Revolut has everything.
Yeah.
We talk about being a financial super app. And, that really is
it's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I remember actually on our first episode, I had Antoine Linnell, who's a partner and vice president here, and he mentioned Revolut's initial goal when it started in 2015 of disrupting the financial industry, right? Do you think that's still a goal for the company today?
Yeah, look, I think firstly, we have disrupted the industry so far, right? We are the forward leading company in many different fields, right? We're innovating and we're at the frontier of building new best products and services within the financial space for customers. But I think we still have a long way to go. And so, we have a saying at Revolut where we kind of all talk about 10x, we're going to 10x growth from here, 10x and so on. And, I think there's a lot more we can do to disrupt.
Yeah.
And, over the coming years, you'll look at things like mortgages, insurance. These are things that we're just at kind of the beginning of disrupting, and these are huge industries, and there's a lot of disruption yet to go.
So what's different in your opinion about using a Revolut account versus a traditional financial institution?
Yeah, I think, it's simplicity and being digital first. I think that the expectation as the consumer these days is that you want an app that's like super slick, very simple, and a company that's constantly innovating with the customer in mind, right? And I think that what sets us apart is, as I mentioned previously, we're at the frontier of innovating and building new products for those customers. And so whether you're, developing a new product within a savings area, you're trying to help customers manage their money better through things like pockets or managing through budgeting, we believe that through offering better financial experience through an application and through a digital age, we can actually provide a much better experience than what you maybe experienced in more traditional financial institutions.
Not to mention not having to go into the branch to open an account, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think if you take the whole process from, you can open an account literally on a train, right? All you need is to take a photo of your, ID and select a couple of buttons, and you're signed up to Revolut in minutes. All the way to, order a card, gets delivered to you in a couple of days, and you can hold multiple currencies, you can set all these budgets, you can do things very quickly at a touch of a button at your convenience. And I think that has hopefully revolutionized the way we do kind of traditional financial work.
Yeah, revolutionized, pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And let's talk about this feature actually of multiple currencies, because I think that's really special. The ability to have one account, which allows you to have euros, dollars, pounds. You really don't see that with traditional accounts.
Yeah, so look, I think it goes back to our founding story, right, which was that we wanted to disrupt the industry and offer a best-in-class account for customers to hold multiple currencies and also exchange at best rates. And so we are quite unique, but it's fundamental to our kind of initial founding story, and I think that's where we've grown from there.
Okay, I'm going to quiz you now. Do you know how many currencies customers can send money in?
So we're growing so fast, so it's probably increasing, but I think around about 70.
Wow, yeah.
So I think you can exchange in 30, but you can send. So like there's a difference between like sending and holding. So like I can hold currencies, I think up to 30.
Okay.
But I could send money to over 70.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the need to have an account in different currencies? Why not just have it exchanged the minute it hits your account?
So I think fundamental principle we have at Revolut, which is provide customers control, right? And you have control in other products, right? We allow customers to set budgets on things like savings, or they have budgets on spending. But also as well for exchanging currencies, we allow customers to exchange at rates that are best for them. They can then hold the currencies in their account, and then they can spend from those currencies at their leisure, right? Rather than spending and the exchange happening in that moment.
Makes sense.
So, if rates are really great and you know that you're going to be traveling in Europe, you can exchange those in the app and then hold those currencies and then spend when you're on holiday.
Yeah, I love that ability, like you said, to have control over your money, over the currencies, and just adds that extra convenience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And save money, hopefully.
Yeah,
Really, that's kind of the
exactly.
point too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think this feature of having multiple currencies is why I, at least, had the initial idea that Revolut is just a travel card. Do you think that's a common misconception among people and customers, that Revolut is just a travel card?
Yeah, look, it's definitely a misconception, right? I think that our beginnings was trying to disrupt that industry and provide best-in-class foreign exchange rates to the consumer market. But if you look at our product offering now, it's much more focused around encouraging our customers to use Revolut as their primary account. And I think that really starts by innovating and building products across the full suite of helping customers deposit their salary, helping them spend and put kind of controls around their spending, and then also helping them save and invest for the future. And so if you look at the latest products that we've launched, everything from joint accounts, so you can now hold accounts with your partner and split bills. You have group chat features, so you can very instantly send messages to friends asking for, from a split bill for the restaurant. And so I think that we're really focused on the primary account and helping our customers use us for their everyday needs.
Yeah. And what's the feature that Revolut offers that you think a lot of people may not know about?
Look, I personally love the features which work across the kind of ecosystem, right? So I talked about the fact that we say one app, all things money. And I think that my favorite features are the ones that show why it's so important to have all of your money in one place. And so one feature I particularly love is spare change roundups feature.
Okay.
And really it bridges the gap between where you spend and where you save.
Can you explain that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, so how it works is that as you spend, the amount that kind of rounds up then goes into your savings account. So give an example, right? So if I buy a coffee for £3.80, the 20 cents that gets rounded up to the £4 then gets deposited in your savings account. We also offer the ability to add a multiplier on that. And so every time you're spending, you're actually depositing in your savings account. And we talk about providing a deliver wow experience for our customers. And one of the best experiences I had was end of last year. You see all the spare change that's been rounded up and has been deposited in your savings account. And it really is a kind of wow experience.
And the way you save is this out of sight, out of mind kind of idea, right?
Yes, it helps people achieve their goals without even thinking about it. And it takes that stress away of, you could deposit money as a lump sum, but actually through things like spare change roundups, we make that much easier for our customers without even thinking about it. They're kind of helping make money as they're spending money every day.
I love that. I'm going to start that right away. Summer in Greece, it'll be my roundup money.
Yeah, fantastic. And you can even actually set it up exactly like that. So you could have a pocket where you're wanting to travel, and in the summertime you can put a nice image of where you want to go, and you can actually link this spare change roundup specifically to that pocket fund.
And going back to your role in strategy operations, how do you differentiate a Revolut account and make it stand out in a market that has some big players, obviously, who have been around for a lot longer?
Yeah, look, I think it's also the speed of our innovation, right? So the range of product offerings we have, and also being at the frontier and launching more products every single month, every quarter, every year. I think that really what sets us out. And also we're growing and we're continually building. So that product suite's only going to get larger, only going to get wider. And I think that's really what differentiates Revolut from the rest.
And let's take it a bigger picture for a second. Do you have any advice for a business that's trying to compete in a crowded market?
I think if you look at some of the best lasting companies in the world, Apple or Amazon, what do they all have in common? They have a laser focus on customer experience. Right? And I think if you're building a company for the long term, you've got to have the customer in mind in everything you do. And I think at Revolut, we have that where we're constantly thinking, how do we build a better experience for our customers? And we believe that by focusing on that, investing in that, we'll continue to strive in the long term.
And that's one of the core pillars of Revolut, right? Is deliver wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to ask you, Mark, a little bit more about you and your time at Revolut.
Sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back with more Insider Views. This episode is brought to you by Revolut Savings. Grow your savings faster with interest paid daily at excellent rates with instant access. Open an account in seconds and see your money grow, compound, and increase every single day. Make your money make money with Revolut Savings. Interest rates vary by plan. Plan fees and savings terms and conditions apply. We're back here on the Revolut Insider Podcast with Mark Swan, Strategy and Operations Manager for the Retail Department at Revolut. Hey, Mark, doing okay?
Hey, yeah, doing great.
Well, I wanted to ask you more about yourself. Maybe something interesting that your fellow Revoluters might not know about you.
Yeah, so maybe one thing that people maybe don't know is I actually came to Revolut straight from university.
Oh,
actually. Wow. And so I joined as a junior strategy and operations manager and worked my way up through the company. And look, I think Revolut's an incredible place to grow, both personally, but also grow with the company as the company grows. So yeah, I think that's maybe something people don't know.
What's been the thing you've been most impressed with during your time here?
Yeah, look, I think Revolut's an incredibly impressive company, right? And I think one of the things that impresses me most about the culture is that it is a true meritocracy. The best ideas win. Doesn't matter who you are, your seniority, your background, your age. If you have an idea and it's supported with valid data and it's going to change the industry, people will support you and back you.
Yeah.
And I think that culture is somewhat a testament to our founders, Nick and Vlad, who incredibly entrepreneurial, best ideas win. And the way that Revolut is set up is that we have that entrepreneurial spirit in every department, every team. And so everyone kind of acts like an owner. And I think you can thrive in that environment.
Definitely. And also, I feel like it's encouraged even to share what might work or some ideas that we have with other departments.
You're absolutely right. And I think that we have a culture of super ambitious, entrepreneurial driven individuals. But I think that part of that culture is that we fail fast, we test ideas, we're constantly innovating. And as I say, it doesn't really matter who you are, your background, or where you're coming from. If you have a good idea, you're given the space to try it out. And if it works, you grow.
And being someone who thinks about strategy and next steps, I have to ask, are there any principles of building a strategy for a business that one can put into practice, say, for their career?
Yeah, look, I think that there's a good Sam Altman quote that I like about this, which is that, plans should be measured in decades and execution should be measured in weeks, right? And what it really means is that you really need to kind of plan for the future and look forward. And so one of the things that businesses, but also people can do in their careers, the mistake they make is they look back at what was successful in the last 10, 20 years. As a young person, you typically make this mistake, right? You say, okay, well, it was great to be an investment banker. It's probably true in maybe the 90s. If you want to be in a big tech company, it's probably true in the early 2000s. But the industries that are going to change the world over the next decade are probably in the industries like fintech. And so both on the business, but also career side, you need to kind of be forward looking and looking at where's the industry going, what are the big opportunities of the next decade, and how can I make sure that I have a share of that market that's growing? Definitely.
I totally agree. And as we know, not all strategies are successful. When do you know when it's time to shift gears?
Yeah, look, I think I mentioned previously that at Revolut, we have a culture of failing fast. And I think that's the heart of product development. You test things out, constantly running different tests, understanding what's working for our customers, constantly getting feedback from our customers. And we have strong beliefs in the sense that we're very passionate about what we want to develop. But if something changes, we will pivot, innovate, and make sure that we're offering the next best experience for our customers.
Yeah. And is there a moment in your life when this was clear that it was time to make a shift in strategy, let's say?
Yeah. So look, I think in my own personal life, I can think of a time where shift in strategy, again, going to this point on being forward-looking in industry. When I grew up, I really wanted to go into politics. I, literally, teenage me wanted to be a politician. And I had a very amazing experience early in my life to get exposure to a company where I was working on two projects. I was working on what industries will be disrupted by AI and also what industries will be disrupted by crypto. And what it taught me before even going to university was that the companies that are going to define the next decade are those that are in either in the fintech space or in AI. And fast forward now a decade, look where we are. And so from that experience, I actually changed my whole kind of life strategy, going away from politics into studying computer science, getting exposure into kind of the tech side, now working at Revolut. So I think you've got to change your strategy depending on what's out there, what's the kind of new best thing. There's another Sheryl Sandberg quote that I always liked. She talked about the fact that people decide their careers based on past experience. But actually, the reality is all the best things haven't been invented yet.
And it sounds like having that experience and exposure or knowledge of what was going to be these disruptors was kind of your point of no return. And in your opinion, what at Revolut has been the point of no return, that tipping point that changed Revolut from being a startup, let's say, to being a serious player in the fintech world or in the financial industry?
Yeah, so I think there's no single point, right, that we can point to, but it's just a constant iterative process. I think that we as a mindset still operate as a startup. We still have the grit of a startup when we innovate with a startup mindset. And I think with that, we grow in our ability to be a serious player in the financial industry. So we're constantly, hopefully, redefining that industry.
Yeah, kind of these milestones that we keep reaching.
Yeah, so, at my desk, I sit beneath a 20-foot neon sign that says never settle. And that is fundamental to our approach and that startup mindset of how do you constantly innovate? How do you constantly redefine? So to answer your question, I think that there's not one single point, but it's a constant innovation, constant development, constant pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And so what's next for Revolut, do you think?
Yeah, so look, I think what's next for Revolut is, first, the growth doesn't stop. We're constantly growing in terms of both employees and also our customer base. We're constantly hiring, top talent, delivering wow experience for our customers, and more customers are joining Revolut every day. I think what you'll see going forward in the next year and years ahead is that you'll see more and more customers use Revolut as their primary account. And so as we continue to innovate across building new products that enable customers to switch across, like savings and credit, you'll see more and more customers use us for their everyday needs.
How do you think that shift will happen, where Revolut will become customers' primary account?
We look at it in kind of two main areas. First area is on providing what we call enablers. So things that make it easier as possible for customers to deposit their salary. So this is like, providing local IBANs for our customers across Europe, which allows them to pay things like utility bills. We also need to provide kind of primary account products. So things like savings accounts, access to credit. And these are kind of enablers which maybe people have on other financial apps or financial accounts, and we're kind of building and making sure that we have that all in one place. So that's an enabler side. And then the second is incentives, and it's essentially providing those rewards for customers to use Revolut as their primary account. And so it's a bit of both. It's a bit of developing these enablers, but then also helping our customers use us as their main account through offering best-in-class incentives.
Yeah, and I remember previously when I joined Revolut, there wasn't an IBAN for Spain because that's where I live. And now we have them, right? We're a licensed bank in Europe, in Spain. How does it work in the UK? Is it the same with IBANs?
So in the UK, we have account numbers and sort codes. There's no blocker. I'm a salaried account customer on Revolut. I can pay all my bills. I have full access to my everyday needs, right? In Europe, we're constantly innovating to allow local account details, so local IBANs for our customers. And so if you're a customer in Spain or France or Ireland, you now have access to local account details so you can pay those everyday needs, whether it be utility providers or telcos.
Yeah. I actually used to work at a bank in Los Angeles. Sometimes it took a bit for customers to change their accounts, whether they were hesitant to start in a new place or just the idea of moving automatic payments, for example. What would you say to those customers who might be considering switching over but haven't decided yet? So maybe answering why Revolut?
I think the why Revolut is simple, right? We are constantly building products that provide the best experience for managing your money, managing your financial needs in one simple, easy to use app. Right? And I think once you start moving across, start actually spending and saving and using all the different products that Revolut use, you get hooked. You just understand how seamless and easy it is. And then from that point, you're past the point of no return.
Yeah.
And so I think that, we have so many different benefits, and depending on what you're using, whether you're kind of traveling or whether you're for every day, we have a lot of entry points for everyone, right? And so I think the why is we're always on the frontier. We're always trying to innovate for our customers, and just, try it out and you'll see the benefits that we have.
Yeah. And if someone wants to open an account, how could they do so?
Yeah, so it's super simple. You can download our app on App Store or Google Store, and in a couple of minutes, you've set up an account. And so you can start spending, saving everyday needs already from day one.
And I'll also include a link to our website in the podcast description. All right, well, we're almost out of time, but I want to ask you, is there anything you want to say to Revolut's existing customers, the over 40 million of them?
Yeah, look, I think what I would say is that me and every other employee at Revolut is constantly thinking about how to make your Revolut experience better. Right? So we're constantly innovating to try and understand what new features you need in the app. And it's really important to understand that customer centricity is in everything we're doing. So I think, first of all, we're constantly innovating for you, but also thank you on being with us in this journey. And we look forward to being together going forward.
I love that. I just have one final question for you that I like to ask all my guests. What advice would you give to younger Mark when you were just starting out in your career?
Don't be scared to grow. I think take opportunities. If the worst outcome is that someone says no or you don't get a response, always do it.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed at how many opportunities you get just by putting yourself forward and putting your hand up and going for it.
And you mentioned earlier that fail fast mentality, right? It's like, okay, you fail fast, you can just move on to the next thing.
Exactly, yeah. You're absolutely right. And I think that, failure is often talked about as a negative thing. I think failure gives you a sense of get up and go and build back, right? And so, we have that culture here, but I think also in my career, you can say, don't be scared to fail. Actually, that's where you learn the most.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for being here today and giving us an overview of why Revolut.
Thank you so much.
And you can follow the podcast and stay in touch with us on LinkedIn and Instagram at Revolut Insider. Thanks for tuning in to the Revolut Insider podcast, where we explore Revolut's rocket ship from the inside out. Until next time, remember, the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. Revolut, change the way you money.